And we are tied again at 71. Tucker for three. Anthony Tucker! To Tolbert. Young. Back to Anthony Tucker. Tucker! Oh, baby!
A former ABL MVP made his much-awaited return and helped lead the Formosa Dreamers to a victory over the Taipei Fubon Braves in the second Taiwan tussle. We talk about this and a lot more here on ABL Recap.
Subscribe and click the bell icon to get notified of the latest videos of the ABL. Follow all of our social media accounts and visit our website for more updates.
Once again, we'd like to thank all of you for joining us here for this latest episode of ABL Recap. You've got Chuck Araneta together with Carlo Pomintuan breaking down the Formosa Dreamers' victory over the Taipei Fubon Braves, 88-80, getting their rematch in the second round of the Taiwan tussle. And the story, obviously, Carlo, of the game, the return of Anthony Tucker, the former world MVP, who went buck wild in the second half of that game.
0 points in the first half of the contest, in the first 20 minutes of that ball game. It felt like he was not in game shape just yet, maybe because he suffered an injury late last season and then suffered another injury in their preparation with Mono Vampire heading into the 10th season of the ASEAN Basketball League. But when he got going, oh boy, he was back to his old self, finishing with 25 points. He had 4 triples in the fourth quarter, including the final dagger that finally defeated the Taipei Fubon Braves. And you know what? If this is the start, I can't wait to see what Anthony Tucker has in store for the rest of the league, which makes me so excited for their upcoming matches against his old teams, against Mono Vampire that he was not even able to play with, and then against his old running buddy in Michael McKinney with the Macau Black Bears. Circle those games in your calendars because for sure they will be good ones.
Well, the thing about Tucker's return is he hasn't played in a while. And he played 40 minutes in his comeback game. 40 minutes. He finished, as you mentioned, with 25 points and 9 assists as well in a classic Anthony Tucker stat. And you know, the thing about Anthony Tucker is his season was cut short last year with the Macau Black Bears, and they were actually in a nice little groove. They had dreams of going deep into the playoffs, but of course with this exit, that didn't happen. And then, as you mentioned, he was supposed to be part of the Mono Vampire basketball squad, but it just didn't push through. And now you see why teams coveted a guy like Anthony Tucker, who really is able to control the game, not just with his brilliant court vision, but he really has one of the sweetest strokes here in the ASEAN Basketball League.
And you saw how quickly he was able to put up shots in that second half. I mean, the defense could not even react to try and put a hand up, to try and defend him, because he can do so many things. He can assist, he can break you down, he can attack, one dribble pull-up jumper, he can finish at the rim. He can do so many things, which always keeps a defense guessing, and more often than not, it will be that three-point shot that will be available for him. But we also have to talk about another guy who was playing for another team last season and now playing for the Formosa Dreamers in Jaron Young. He is a little bit of everything for this squad right now. Points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks, name it, Jaron Young provides it.
And not just the stats, but also the highlights as well, as he's just relentless getting to the basket. And you mentioned he was part of the Singapore Slingers last year. Now he is part of the Dreamers. Now, not only was Tucker one of the new faces on the team, but they also had a new world import in Jordan Tolbert, who, you know, had big shoes to fill also with the exit of Liam McMorrow. Basically, Jordan Tolbert, and he had a tough night because he was basically trying to push Sim Bular out of the paint the entire game. Really did not have a lot of time and a lot of energy left on offense. But how did you like what Tolbert was able to bring to the team?
You know, if he wasn't pushing Sim, he was going up against Charles Garcia, which is, again, not an easy task. He knew his role. He was there to defend and get rebounds, not even putting up a lot of shots. He was 3 of 5 from the field. But at least you get someone who has the energy to play defense and who can stay on the floor. Because the biggest problem with Liam McMorrow, at least in his stint, with the Formosa Dreamers was his foul troubles. He was often, limited in his minutes during the fourth quarter because he was nursing 4 personal fouls, and he is definitely a huge addition to the squad. But no rest for the weary, because up next for the Formosa Dreamers and that new guy would be Sam De Guara and the San Miguel Pilipinas.
There's really no day off in the ASEAN Basketball League. And now, before we talk about the Braves, we also have to make mention of 2 guys that helped lead the victory. Of course, you got Chang Tsung Sien, finished with a monster performance as well of 21 points and 3 of 6 from beyond the arc, as well as Woo Sung Wei, who also had 6 points off the bench. As a team, they shot 16 of 41, and boy, you add in Tucker to the mix, and all of a sudden, the Dreamers look like they have a devastating offense that can really make a problem for a lot of teams.
As compared to the Taipei Fubon Braves, who were missing the services of Lin Che, who, as we know, will be missing a couple of weeks because of a foot injury. And they looked a little flabbergasted, a little lost, because they needed some help coming from their locals. It did not come. And so there was a lot of pressure on their imports to perform in this particular game.
All right, now very quickly for the Fubon Braves, they've now lost 2 straight games. You mentioned without Lin Chiche. Chuck Garcia finished with 14 and 13. OJ Mayo with 20, but not a lot beyond them. And of course, although a good game as well by Jolin. What if you had to sort of summarize the problems you've been seeing with the Braves? Where would you attribute this 2-game losing streak?
Again, I'll have to go back to, I think they're still trying to get their feel of this whole 3 import situation in the ASEAN Basketball League. They are, one of the 2 teams, Mono Vampire and Taipei Fubon Braves, who do not start all of their imports altogether. So I think it is about still finding the right way to compete in the ABL, because it's very different from where they played before. But if you are a fan of the Taipei Fubon Braves, you need not worry, because this is a team that is committed to winning, and they will shake this off sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. Well, with that victory, the Dreamers climb to 2-3, and the Fubon Braves fall to 4-3. And the final game day of the ABL 2019 is going to be a jam-packed one. We've got 3 games on the slate, starting, of course, with the Formosa Dreamers back in action right away against Sam De Guara and the San Miguel Alab Pilipinas. We've also got Mono Vampire taking on Hong Kong Eastern, and the Singapore Slingers making their debut at the OCBC Arena. They will face the Wolf Warriors. That is going to do it for this latest episode of ABL Recap. And once again, we'd like to remind everyone to please follow us on all of our social media channels and click on the bell to be the first to find out for our new videos. So on behalf of Carlo Pamintuan, my name is Chuck Araneta, and we will see you in the next episode of ABL Recap.